Are you destroying your loot when you break open chests? Can your attacks hit an invisible target? Will you get more experience from passing a dialogue check only to kill them immediately afterwards? In this video, we answer all these questions and more. Let's get started with a highly contested topic in the community, that destroying a chest means you also destroy some of the items that were inside of it. However, I've never seen anyone actually test this. So I started a new game and gathered 100 chests from all over Act 1. Next, I placed each chest in a line and started lockpicking so I could verify their loot. Then I opened up Excel and created a spreadsheet of every item that was originally in the chests, all 100 of them. And with the setup done, it was time to get smashing. And after all was said and done, there were 100 piles of loot on the floor exactly where the chests used to be, making it very easy for me to confirm the findings from my Excel spreadsheets. And after comparing to the sheets, there was not a single item missing. Out of 100 chests destroyed, 0 items were gone. Just in case, I then reloaded the save to make sure that they were all locked and did the test again, to see if there were any differences when destroying locked chests. And after destroying all of the chests again, and comparing once more, there were 0 differences. So then where's the community getting this idea that destroying chests means that you lose items? I'm guessing it's because if there's a trap chest, it can explode and sometimes trigger nearby explosives, which then can destroy items on the ground afterwards. Also, there are some bug containers, like this one I found underneath the Blighted Village, that deletes every single item inside of it when you destroy it. However, that container is not a chest, meaning the original myth that breaking chests means you destroy the loot inside of it remains busted. But as for other containers, there's no guarantees. Our next myth being looked at today is that mage hands can't pick up items. When using the mage hand, if you attempt to click on items in the game, then nothing really happens. Sure, you can move items around, or you can throw them, but you can't really pick stuff up. Even if you check the proficiency screen of your mage hands, it shows that they can't use any weapons or armor types. And when you click on weapons, there's not any equip icon and nothing really happens. But for reasons I can't explain, if you mouse over some of the specially named items in the game, it'll show a gear icon instead of the hand. When that icon shows, it means that you can equip the item with the mage hand and get the full damage benefits from it if it's a weapon. They can even throw an equipped weapon when they're done with it. However, if your mage hand dies, or its turn duration expires while the item is equipped, then it will be lost forever. Oddly enough, I've also found a crossbow that this works with and a few different armor pieces, but those items will sadly be 100% lost as the mage hand cannot throw those or drop them once equipped, making it much less viable for actually using it. As it's not really possible to determine if this is intended or a bug, I'll leave this myth as plausible for now, because they still can't pick up the other 99% of items in the game. Now, if you've ever browsed YouTube at all for Baldur's Gate 3, then you've probably seen the next myth, and that's that the Everburn blade gets you a massive head start and is even overpowered. Just in case you're not aware, the Everburn blade is a two-handed sword that drops from the tutorial boss on the ship at the start of Baldur's Gate 3. And if you've ever searched YouTube on the topic, then you might believe that this sword is the most overpowered and necessary item to start the game with. But is that really the case? Well, let's first look at when the weapon could even be replaced. And if you don't mind a bit of save scumming, then you can actually replace the weapon by level 2, with a legendary greatsword that will easily last you until Act 3. However, if you really wanted to get this sword, you'd have to be pretty lucky because it's a 9% chance for it to drop and you only get one shot at it. Then you'd also have to follow it up by using mage hands or invisibility pots to get the weapon back to your character, and then probably revive your dead characters, so it's a bit of a pain, but man is it ever worth it. This weapon actually is overpowered and you can use it for a very long time. Okay, so now we know it's very easily replaced if you use a kind of cheesy method, but what if you didn't really want to do that? Well, the Everburn blade is basically just a normal greatsword that has been dipped in fire permanently, so if you don't mind using dip, you can get comparable weapons very easily, such as the great axe from the basement of the Toll House, which has extra attack on it and can be obtained without fighting anything. If you didn't do that though, you'd probably replace the sword by about level 5 after fighting the Githyanki patrol, so about halfway through Act 1 realistically. I think no matter how you spin it, the Everburn blade is neither broken nor overpowered. And there's an easily obtainable alternative which actually is. So I'm gonna say this myth is also busted. Now for the myth that I was most interested in testing personally, passing dialogue checks which allows you to skip a fight and then killing them immediately afterwards grants more experience than if you just fought them. That explanation might be a little bit confusing, but once I show you, it's going to be pretty clear. So to start out with testing this one, I went to the Goblin Camp as a drow, which unlocks unique dialogues that allow you to skip the fight and grants you 140 experience just for talking to them. Then, immediately after the conversation ended, I killed the goblins, which granted me an extra 0 experience. Next, I reloaded the save file to before I talked to the goblins, and I did the fight without talking to them, and I still earned a total of 140 experience, meaning this was the exact same amount. There was no extra experience earned. Next, I repeated this test in 5 other locations in Act 1 where I knew that this mechanic is possible. And in 4 of the locations, there was no difference at all in experience earned between a dialogue check and killing the mobs afterwards. One location, however, was different. At the Goblin Windmill, you can pass the dialogue check there, and you earn just 70 experience. which is much less than if you killed all the mobs. But if you follow up the conversation by attacking them immediately after, before they run away, you actually end up earning an extra 50 experience compared to if you never talked to them and you just fought them. Meaning this myth actually is confirmed to work, but not really that often. However, I was curious why so many people believe this one to be true, so I decided to do a little bit further testing. I tried long resting between attempts, I tried coming back hours later, I even tried switching my party members, but it made no difference until I decided to save and reload the game. And that's when I discovered the answer. If you do a dialogue check, save the game, reload the game, and then kill the mobs, you then get full experience once again from killing them all, effectively doubling the experience for the encounter. But even worse, this can be exploited further by knocking out all of the enemies with non-lethal damage first. Then you can save and reload again to kill them after that. By doing this, you get the experience from the dialogue, the knockout, and killing the mobs, meaning you can basically double or triple your experience from nearly anything in the game. In my opinion, this is clearly a bug. However, it does in fact prove the myth to be confirmed true. Passing dialogues and then killing the mobs afterwards does sometimes yield more experience. And if you decide to use exploits, it dramatically increases the experience earned. And the final myth that I wanted to test in this video is that you can hit an invisible target with your non-AoE attacks. Well, this one really isn't much of a myth, it's more of myself just wanting to know the answer. So I saved the game knowing exactly where the hag went invisible, then proceeded to test all of my attacks. And to my surprise, arrows actually can hit an invisible target, as can spells, water bottles, improved melee swings, thrown items, scrolls, and cleave attacks. However, a melee swing directly at where she is will never hit her, making it the only attack that fails to hit an invisible target. And as an added bonus, I found out that magic missiles can actually hit the wrong target if there's an invisible target in the way, which I believe is the only way in the game that magic missiles will not hit its intended target. So anyways, this myth is confirmed true. You can hit invisible targets with most attacks, except for melee swings. But honestly, arrows really surprised me. And with that, I will be wrapping up the first of possibly a series that I wanted to do on this channel. If you did enjoy the video and want to see more of this style, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content. Did any of these myths surprise you? Do you have anything that you want me to test? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, Proxy out.